Okay, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our Monday evening, Easter Monday Zoom call. And we're really, really excited that you're with us. But most importantly, we have the most fantastic call. And tonight's call is all going to be about the US conference, which was held just 2 weeks ago. And a number of people were at that conference, and it was really an absolutely groundbreaking conference. And I can never remember a time when we are on the verge of something so enormous with our company. And as we always say, we feel like we've been driving it around the A roads, and now we're taking it on the motorway, and we're going to take it across the world. So it's very, very exciting what is happening. So we've got a number of speakers on this evening. We've got Gordon Wilkie and Sue Burdick Dan and James Knight, Bob Burdick, and Sue as well, and then Bob as well. So we got a lot of really, really exciting things that we're going to cover. And the first person I'd like to ask to give their feedback is Gordon. Gordon, are you there?
I am, yes, James. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, yeah. So just, if you could just tell us, Gordon, I mean, obviously you've been in the business for a long time. How long have you been in the business for?
On the 19th of September this year, I'll be in 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and obviously you've been to lots of different conferences, but what most excites you about the US conferences, and why was this one of particular interest for you?
I think I've already said a couple of times when I've been on these calls that when I first got involved with Juice Plus, I took myself to the very first month, actually afterwards, I took myself to an American conference in New Orleans, and I created a vision for myself that here, 8,000, 7,000.
Okay, we'll just wait a while. He should come back to us. It sometimes happens. Gordon, are you there? Okay, so we're going to come back to Gordon in just a moment. Sue, are you there? Sue Burdick. Sue, can you unmute yourself, Sue?
Okay, there we go.
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
Fantastic.
Sorry.
Great. All right, so straight into Atlanta, Georgia, into Somerville. So, Sue, whilst we're waiting for Gordon to come back, just tell us, I mean, obviously, you are a superstar. You've been in the business for how many years?
June the 8th will be 29 years.
29 years. So just tell us a little bit about how important the conferences have been in building your business.
The conferences have been priceless, James, and thank you for having me on the call with you tonight. And what happened with us is we saw the bigger picture. Before we were in the business, I guess 4 months before we went to our first conference. And when we got there, we saw this huge picture. We had seen crowds of, several hundred, but not, thousands. So we saw how far this thing could go. So that just painting that whole big picture. And also what I saw was that I could do it because I saw everyday average people or, average people making above average incomes. And I knew that I'm above average, so I was going to make a lot of money. That's when I realized that we could become millionaires because the people weren't any smarter than we were. I guess I got it in my head that because Bob and I are lacking in education, that we wouldn't be as we wouldn't be able to do it as well as some other people. But we made up for our lack of education in time and energy. We put in more time, we put in more energy, and we learned along the way. It's a on the job training, and the stories there. You will identify. There'll be someone whose story will get your new person's attention. The NMD stories with their struggles from getting to where they were to national marketing director are just amazing to paint the pictures of the future. So that's what's happened with my business. That's why I never missed a conference.
Fantastic. And Sue, just tell us a little bit, what have you earned from the business since you've been involved with Juice Plus?
Bob's more the numbers man, but I believe it's just over $25 million.
Wow.
And that's from a housewife grooming dogs and raising 5 children with no education, and a carpenter with no education, no high school.
Fantastic. Well, you've been an enormous help and vision to all of us in the UK, and particularly me. And thank you, Sue, so much.
Thank you.
We'll be coming back to you a little bit later, so that's great. So, Dan, are you there?
Yeah, hello, James.
Fantastic. So, Dan, so we're going really from someone who's been in for 29 years to Dan, and you've been in the program. How long have you been with Juice Plus for?
5 months. I'm in my 6th month now.
Fantastic. And you're blazing a trail, and everything I see you're doing is absolutely fantastic. I love your posts. I love everything you're doing. It's so impressive. So, Dan, tell us, I mean, this was your first conference. What were your impressions? What were your takeaways? I mean, just tell us, what did you feel?
Okay, well, it was my first American conference, but it's my 3rd overall. So it was good to see how they're doing it on the other side of the pond. There's a few differences that I noticed, and it was a lot bigger. I think there was close to 7,500 people there. What I really liked about the American conference was the breakout meetings that all the NMDs were leading. I thought that's something that we can certainly take advantage of in the UK, doing more breakout stuff with our teams. There were some differences in sort of between the UK and the US. The US seemed to be a lot more focused on product, and whereas I think in the UK we've developed a reputation for leading with a business. So had lots of interesting chats about how we're doing it over here in terms of the business, and then vice versa with the American guys, how they're doing it. So that was good. Bouncing ideas off of each other was good. I also got to connect with a lot of people that I've met online but not met in person. So that was and the little conversations that I had with different people left me really motivated and inspired, which sort of reiterates what Sue says. If you haven't been to a conference yet, then you need to get one, because you will leave that conference with such a belief in this company and such a belief in the product that you will just go on to smash this business. And you know, it was a lot of fun as well. So the fun element was there. And and the highlight for me was obviously being asked to speak at the Burdick's wrap-up event, which was, you know, a big 5 months into the business, and being able to talk to close to, I don't know, 1,000 people, less just shy of 1,000 people. And I joined this business to inspire others, and I got to inspire a whole room, and the activity that's been going on since that talk by the Burdick's team in America has just been phenomenal. And the next one is in St. Louis, and I'm going to be going over again. I left the States with 2 distributors, which I'm hoping they're on this call tonight. I haven't checked to see, but if they are, I'd like to welcome Shannon and Mary to this global organisation that we've got here. And I just can't wait for St. Louis.
Fantastic, Dan. That's really, really interesting. And I mean, obviously everybody's going to have a slightly different story, but it's just fascinating to hear the excitement that people get from coming to the conferences. And sometimes people are a little bit uncertain about what they're going to see, but when they come, it's like a homecoming in a sense. People go, oh my God, this is fantastic. And that's what I felt when I first went. I thought, these people are just so excited, and I just wanted to be part of it. Great. So let's go back to Gordon now. Gordon is unfrozen now. And let's go back to Portugal and to Gordon and his lovely wife, Michelle. So, Gordon, are you there?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. Okay, so we've got you at mid-flow. So tell us, so you were in New Orleans, and you did an amazing conference in New Orleans.
So roughly there were maybe 7,500 people there in 1991. And, you know, there were about the same number of people in Phoenix. And as I said, I did a quick check before we came on the conference. We had... What I saw with my vision was that we would reproduce this in the UK at some stage. Well, I'm pleased to say that in Birmingham we had 3,000 people. 2 weeks later, or the week after that, in Madrid there was 3,500 people. and there are already 3,500 people booked for Cologne in April. And, you know, put my accountancy hat on, that comes to 10,000 people in Europe. So whatever I saw 25 years ago, it is now happening in the Europe as well. And it's great to have the confirmation and the reaffirmation that that's actually happening. And, you know, like Dan was saying, I think it's the conference is one thing, but it's what you get around the conference in terms of the networking, getting to speak to people like Bob and Sue when they've got time to sit down with you and have a drink and have a chat, and all their inner secrets in many ways. But there's also the kind of confirmation from the Home Office that things are moving in the right direction. You know, we've now got 35 different scientific studies. We've got new products coming down the line. I happened to sit next to somebody who was a healthcare professional, and we were talking, and when they were talking at the NMD meeting about the new Omega blend that was coming out, and I was nudged in the side and said, there is nothing like this on the planet at this moment. So, you know, from a historic point of view, we're going to be in a position where we're going to have something brand new in a mature network. I mean, can you imagine what's going to happen when that hits the network, if you like? It's going to be phenomenal. And, you know, as Dan said, the focus very much over there is product driven. And as with our own group, you know, we do lead with the product more than we do perhaps with the business. So there's a fantastic opportunity to lead with those products. I was particularly excited about, and as we know, and I'll talk about it later, about the Tower Gardens. I was kind of one of 25.
We'll come back. Should we come back to that later on?
I'll come back to that, yeah. And, you know, that's where I got it from the conference in many ways. So I'll come back to that.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much indeed. All right, well, so let's now go. Thanks, Gordon. Let's go now to James Knight. So, James, are you there?
Yeah.
Now, it's always interesting hearing from James, because James is a fitness professional and ex-army, and he has a very, very interesting perspective on things, a huge exponent, lover of the product, as we all are, but James really is, because he had such an amazing result with it himself. So, James, tell us, what were some of the things that really stood out for you at the conference?
Well, there was quite a lot of things, actually. A lot of the stuff I learned was from sitting around and talking with people, and really sort of like Dan was very good at networking and finding all the NMDs across the world. And apart from one thing that stands out, anyone on the call, this is people from all over the world on this call, but once the Tower Garden comes over, I think that's the most exciting thing for me. And the American and Canadians' passion for it, and what they're talking about is how much it's actually changed their lives. So I'm so excited about that now. And I spend quite a lot of time learning about the Tower Garden, watching them do the displays on that. But I actually got quite a lot from the Australians, actually, not just taking it away from the American side of things, but how they conduct their trainings is something that we are sort of trying to break into now. They're so focused on fast tracking, and they have their systems in place for that. They teach their guys how fast tracking to DVF in the first 10 days and then hitting the SDVF position of 30 days, and how they all have to buy into this weekly call that they have. It's like a starter or a fast tracker call. Fast track your business, and it's run every single week. So every single new joiner must go on that call, and they'll run it 2 or 3 times on that day. So they'll have one in the morning, one in the lunchtime, and one in the evening, so that they can't miss that or make an excuse to miss that call. So that's something that I'm really thinking about, is making sure we run what I run for my team 3 that day. Also, speaking with Jamie Kenzie in New 100 Club in St. Louis, she was talking about how they make sure they focus entirely on qualifying their businesses all with their own customers. Whereas we've been teaching, we do teach that in many ways, but we also really focus on bringing in new team members straight away. So what they want to do, they've kind of reversed that and teaching all their new distributors to focus on bringing in 25 to 40 personal customers, which is a big feat, but that's how they're teaching it. So qualifying your business with your own customers first. They also in America, they're doing a lot of salad in the jar parties, and I don't know how the British would respond to that really. maybe cake in a jar or something like that we'd probably be all right with, but salad in a jar, I don't know how we're going to. I mean, the women in our country would probably be good at that, but I can't see the men inviting men round for salad in the jar party. I just don't know if that would work. So they're doing a lot of launch parties and a lot of home-based events, which is really building communities and business. They do it through their churches and everything like that. So that is something else that I know myself and Sue Worrell, we spent a good 6 months to a year when we first started bringing random men round our house, didn't we, Sue? So and she would cook for us, but that really built our business. So something like that, I think we need to really start discussing with our teams about doing more home events again and building that community and that team spirit. What else did I put down? Oh yeah, and really focusing on their groups. I was speaking to some of the Canadian teams, and because obviously they're so spread out, they really, really focus on their distributor support groups and their customer support groups. An interesting one was when they started up a new joiner, they knew to, like we tell our guys, they know to add their new joiners to the relevant. They also have to share their lifestyle changes in their groups. So be taking photos of the meals they're having, sharing their testimonials. So everyone's really buying into the support groups. Every single customer shares their journeys. Every single distributor knows that weekly they have to put posts in there. And that really builds that sort of community spirit that I'm trying to get our team to really buy into, because at the moment only 10 or 20% are buying into those groups. So if every distributor knows that when they get put in these groups that they need to start sharing their lifestyle changes, their one simple changes, their own recipes, their exercises, testimonials, and every single customer does the same as well, that's how you're going to build a very strong community. So our support groups need to strengthen, I believe, and how we teach our new joiners, our new distributors and our customers the protocols of what's expected of them when they're put in those groups.
Fantastic, James. That's brilliant. I love that. I took lots of notes there. Brilliant. Lovely, lovely information. Great. So thank you, James. Let's move on now. And Bob at Burdick. So Bob, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, wonderful, Bob. So Bob, I mean, you're always so inspiring in everything you say, and you've always got such a clear view on things. I mean, you've attended all the conferences over the last 30 years. How was this one more important for you this time as a conference?
I think you could really see the commitment and strength of the company. Even after 45 plus years, 2015 was their best year ever. They're continuing to grow, and they're not resting on yesterday's story. They're still moving forward. 35 studies on Juice Plus. They've still got more research underway. They have new, unique products coming out in the near future. All right. So it's a company you can hook up with and stay with. What I tell them, what the company does for my wife and myself and my family, they pay us to stay healthy. They pay you to get. I mean, what a deal, right? Juice Plus makes sense to people. It's never going to go out of style. Since man's not going to quit messing up the environment, demand for our product will only increase. So you have a product that's had its best year ever with demand only going to increase. Now they have a new department for international expansion. Over 170 countries in the world do networking. So we're only in 26. We barely scratched the surface in those 26. When I say the best is yet to come, we haven't scratched the surface. And with the Tower Gardens, I know Gordon's going to talk about it, going to Europe, the Tower Gardens are a referral machine. When you sell a customer Juice Plus, their friends might never see the physical Juice Plus in their home, the bottles. When you sell somebody a Tower Garden, when friends stop by, I would say 100% are going to say, what is it? And some will actually buy it. So your new customer will either be a referral machine or a new distributor. So with the Tower Gardens going into Europe, I think they're going to be a bigger hit in Europe than they are here because of the lack of growing space and things like that in Europe and the lack of good weather in parts of Europe. So I think the Tower Gardens are going to be a huge hit. But with the new products coming out, with the growing research, with the expanding international department, I mean, the best is yet to come. Another thing they did here to show the strength of the company, they had all the people with more than 20 years in the business get on stage. Unbelievable amount of people, 20 years plus in the business. Sue and I, 29 years, all right? I know Gordon, 25 years. I think yourself, 28 years. Also, if you looked around the room, there's another group there. A huge group in their 20s. In other words, there's a huge group that wasn't born when Sue and I signed up. They're not 29 years old yet. So that's another stability to your business because they're going to be here no matter how old I get. Okay? We've got both the longevity people here with the experience, and we have the new folks that want to join this mission and have the fun and the mission and the lifestyle that the Juice Plus business creates. So I thought it was very inspiring. And when I try to tell people too before a conference, whether it's Bond or here or Birmingham a couple of weeks ago, is when you go to conference, have a plan. Like James said, he was tracking down people taking notes. He was looking for certain people taking notes and learning. You know, we have a lot of fun at conferences. You know I do. But also learn nothing, James, from you. Also have fun and stuff while you're there, but learn while you're there, you know, and make contacts. You know, say you had somebody in Seattle and you're coming here, we'll find at the conference, develop a relationship so you have a support team there. So that was another thing I see.
Fantastic, Bob, brilliant. Thank you. We'll be coming back to you a little bit later on. Now we're going to go back from Atlanta now to Portugal again. And Gordon, if you could just tell us a little bit about your impressions of the Tower Gardens. Now, obviously, the Tower Gardens, I think in the US is now 10% of the turnover. And of course, we're so excited about the Juice Plus and the capsules, but the Tower Gardens are very, very interesting. So tell us a little bit about your impressions and what you saw when you went to the plant, Gordon. Gordon, I think you may have frozen again. Okay, all right. Well, look.
Hey, James, you can come to me. I think I have to go pick a grandchild up from school, so you can put me on.
Please, Sue. Yeah, I mean, Sue, let's just ask you now about the 39 Club retreat. Now, can you first of all explain what the 39 Club is? Because the company, you know, they shower us with goodies and wonderful trips, and they really, really look after us, don't they? But tell us a little bit about the 39 Club and what it is and how you get to 39 Club and what you experience when you get to the 39 Club.
Okay. James Knight was talking about qualifying your business. That's it's 1,000 points. You get 1,000 points, $1,000, whatever it is in the UK. But you get your points in and qualify your own business. That means you are qualified to earn the commissions paid on your team that you're building. And that's really exciting because that 5% or 3% team bonus, wherever you happen to be, is going to be the largest portion of your check. Of our $25 million in earnings, probably 95% of it has been from team bonuses on the team that we've built through qualifying our business. So when you get 39 people or more who've qualified their businesses on your team, when you become a 39 Club, which means you have in your team 39 plus team members who are qualifying their business, you've gotten that 1,000 points in.
And Sue, tell us very quickly, what would someone be expecting to earn once they've got to that in US dollars, once they've got up to 39 Club?
Well, the average 39 Clubber, I think, earns in excess of $100,000, but there's a minimum. You can earn a minimum of about $75,000 a year. And at that point, you're usually national marketing director with that whole package, that the corporate package that everyone in the States, a lot of people in the United States will hold on to a corporate job that they hate because of the insurance package. And we get bonuses and this 39 Club retreat. And Phoenix is one of our favorite places. They have a beautiful spa. I mean, it's just this wonderful desert setting. It is absolutely amazing. We get pampered and treated. And Gordon, I mean, where in the world could you go and play golf as one of the reps in the company and play golf with the president, $1 billion a year company, you know. So so Gordon hobnobs with the president when he's there, and we you know, in the back rooms in the spa when we're not getting treatments, we talk and we koozies. It's just it's remarkable, and they throw parties for us. It's amazing, and they do this in Europe as well.
Thank you, Sue. That's absolutely lovely. So, okay, all right. Well, that's wonderful. So we're now going to go back to Gordon. And Gordon, just tell us a little bit about your experience with the Tower Garden. So we've got about a couple of minutes. So if you could just be quite concise. And then also in the meantime, everyone, if you've got any particular questions that you would like to be asking any of the people that have spoken so far, or any questions whatsoever, then if you put them on the private chat line, and then I will ask them to the various different people. So if you ask me, you know, you tell me who you want to ask questions to, or you can just make it to anyone, and then we'll ask questions towards the end. So Gordon, back over to you.
Yeah, I think the Tower Garden group that I was associated with, 25 national marketing directors in Europe across various countries who are going to be spearheading the trial of the Tower Garden into Europe and see how it goes with different growing conditions. But Jay Martin, he's really got the project, and he sees it as his own brainchild, if you like. And we all buy into the mission statement to inspire healthy living around the world. But for me personally, I think Jay Martin wants to leave a legacy with the Juice Plus company. And the Tower Gardens is a physical verification of this inspiring healthy living around the world. And as Bob said, you know, you can come into somebody's kitchen and see the Juice Plus pots, but when you go into someone's or kind of room and you see a living, growing tower garden, which is an aeroponic system, and you start to talk about that, how you're growing your own food, I think that just kind of moves it into a different sphere. And what Jay shared with us was that everyone that buys a Tower Garden buys Juice Plus, but not everybody that buys Juice Plus buys a Tower Garden. So that was quite interesting. He wanted to put a number on it. Last year, as Bob said, they had the best year ever, $500 million in sales, of which 10% accounted for the actual. So that was quite phenomenal. We went to a facility which was run by a compound pharmacist in Phoenix, and he'd built a 5,000 square foot facility which housed 400 Tower Gardens. And he actually produced produce for the local area and had loads of kind of farmers markets that he sold the produce to, but he also had lots of arrangements with restaurants, vegan and vegetarian restaurants, where you can actually kind of go there, and actually he supplied all the produce for the actual tower. So I'm very excited about that. I think you know, there's a future in this. It's not going to happen for a year, so we shouldn't really be talking about it too much, but we can actually start to build up our database, if you like. And I'm excited about a tower in the a salad in a jar party. I don't know what James is on about. I'll have those in my house every day of the week, especially if I can attract a whole load of people. And as a result of it, they buy 1 or 2 Tower Gardens and a few other boxes of Juice Plus. I'm very excited about doing that kind of thing. And you know, I could see a way forward where, you know, the Tower Gardens will be a fantastic adjunct to what we've got. And, you know, it will help us to sell more Juice Plus. And that's got to be our focus, to keep that focus on the Juice Plus. But as a result of that, it's going to be fantastic.
Great, thank you very much indeed. So you're going to be trialing, you're going to be receiving a Tower Garden, as will 25 other people that came, and then you are going to be basically trialing it at your home, and then reporting back and everything. And this is when the forerunner to the launch, perhaps next year. Yeah. And, you know, you're all invited around when we start to grow our lettuces and cucumbers and all sorts of things, and to see how it goes. One of the things that Jay is very keen to do, this facility that we had, that they have in Phoenix, is to do a similar facility in all the different countries in Europe. So he's looking for partnerships
where different people might willing to take on multiple numbers of these towers, etc. So that's always a good thing to kind of start to spread the word. Whether it's from there's compound pharmacists, I'd never heard of that before, but garden centres, all these kind of facilities that we may have around the UK that might be interested in actually kind of helping us to grow that whole area for us.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you very much. That sounds very, very exciting. We look forward to seeing pictures of your tower garden in coming weeks and months. Good. All right. So let's now go, and we're finishing up with this. I'm sorry we're going a little bit over time, but I think we'll all agree that it's worth it. We're on a roll here. So we're going to go back now to Bob Burdick. And Bob, if you're there, I'm sure you are. I'm going to ask you a question which I think is very, very important. And Bob, are you there? You coming back? Good, yeah. So Bob, after attending the spring conferences in Europe and the US, what type of action would you advise someone to put into practice now to make 2016 an outstanding year for their Juice Plus business?
Having a specific plan of the income producing activities. In other words, who, when, and where are you going to talk to people about the product, about the business? What events are you going to get people to? Build from all your next conference in the UK is, I believe, the 6th and 7th of October, right?
Yep.
All right. So you got 7 months counting this month, the rest of March, and then 6 more months to build there. So building from small events to have a big team in not only the UK conference, but the European conference, whether in Germany or Spain as well, come October. Right? And holding yourself accountable. So many people don't hold themselves accountable. Sue and I had a sign on our bathroom mirror the first 3 years in the business. It said, "Who did I talk to today?" I underlined 2 words, I and today, to benefit my family's financial future. So I share with people, particularly the newer ones, or people that were in the business and never took it serious. What would you give up and what would you commit to for 7 months to build a foundation that could last your family forever? So, and focus on the income producing activities, sharing the product, sharing the business, and promoting events. Those are the 3 income producing activities, building to that big conference. And qualifying your business with customers is key. When Sue and I started, we got almost 2 customers every day, our first year building our team. But people will do what you do, not what you say. So a lot of people, the reason some people don't like network marketing is a network marketer says, "James, will you do what I won't do to make me rich?" Now they worded it a little differently, but that's what you hear, rather than, "This is what I see, this is what I'm doing, you want to come along with me. Without being rude, I'm going with or without you." Right? I saw this was going to happen. Sue saw this was going to happen. And this was our shot in life. Okay, none of the soccer teams ever called me. Okay, hard to believe, I know. All right, none of the American football teams or baseball teams did either. So again, I saw this as my opportunity in life, and I treated it that way, and I held myself accountable. Okay, the pace of the leader is the pace of the group. So, and getting the right width. A question I'll ask: I have a new person with me, and I'm introducing them to a veteran distributor or national marketing director. I typically ask that seasoned person, knowing what you know now, what would you do different if you were starting brand new today? And most people would say go wider. The difference in the size of a building is the foundation underneath it. The difference in somebody's income is the width of their distributorship, whether you have 5, 6, or 7 lines, or 8 or 9, and I'm talking about working lines, not that you sponsored somebody that didn't do anything, that you sponsored lines that are 12 club or bigger. A question I'll throw on some people: who's your 3rd strongest line? And there'll be a dead silence. Don't kid yourself. You can lie to me, don't lie to yourself. I tell everybody, sideline or downline. Okay, again, now is the time. The company's never been better positioned. We've got the right products. We got the tower gardens fixing to go to Europe in the next year. They did the same thing here in the U.S. They had, I forget how many, Rick might remember, They had like 20, 25 of us from different geographical areas around the United States, from Seattle to Florida to New York to California and all over, with the Tower Garden. We had them, I don't know, 6 months or a year before they launched them here. So that way you had somebody in each area that was a little familiar with them. But the Tower Gardens are a referral machine. The Juice Plus is more of the residual, but you want both. You know, some people are only going to do one, but you want most of your customers doing both. But again, I urge people to start planning towards 6th and 7th of October there in the UK now. What events are you going to do? Okay, who are you going to call? Who are you going to meet with in the next 7 months? And how many people are you going to have there from how many different lines? If somebody had 50 people there from 5 different lines, it'd be better than somebody having 100 from one line. So it's not only the number of people, but the number of different lines that you have showing up at the conferences and the local events. And again, I'll ask people, what would you do for 3 to 5 years to change your family's financial future forever? The first 3 years out of 29 years, the first 3 years was the biggest work. After that, it's all I do is go around and have good meals and good alcohol with good friends, making money around the world.
Bob,
I mean, we met you through a phone call 28 years ago.
Yeah, and Bob, but can I just ask you, you know, you sometimes use the analogy of rolling a snowball up the hill and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then, because sometimes I think people don't quite understand the massive exponential growth potential of our business and what can happen if people start working the numbers. Can you just take us through that analogy of what you have experienced and what you've seen all over the world, really, with this? Because a lot of people don't get it.
Right. People don't understand numbers, particularly the U.S., I think. I know it's not a perfect world. I've been in 35 countries and 49 states. Okay, I've met a lot of people. But if you recruited 6 people who recruited 36, who recruited 216, no, 6 who recruited 6 who recruited 6 5D, and I only recruited 5 who recruited 5 5D, you only recruited 1 more than me. If they all, I'm talking U.S. numbers now, if they all did $100 a month, that's all they did. And all I got was my performance bonus, 5 by 5, all doing 100. My performance bonus would be $19,525 a month. You know, $20,000 a month, good money. But if you got 6 who got 6 5D, that jumps to $46,650. If you get 8 who get 8 5D, that goes to $192,400 per month. So now, be realistic. Every 5 isn't going to recruit 5. Every 6 isn't going to recruit 6. So there's an expression, safety in numbers, law of averages. So I can recruit 15 or 20 to make up for the ones that don't recruit 5. In other words, I can build a strong enough foundation that even if some of them only recruit 2 or 3, I had the safety in numbers at the top. Okay, so again, people talk to too few people with too little potential, trying to earn too much money. Okay, and go for no. Like I tell people here in America, Hank Aaron beat Babe Ruth's strikeout record before he broke the home run record. Don't worry about the no's. Worry that you're doing the activity. Hold yourself accountable to sharing it with 2 people every day. Okay, say 5 days a week. Okay, you only have to do it 7 days a week. So say you shared the business with an average of 2 people a day, 5 days a week. You shared the product with 2 people a day with the intention of getting better. The difference in people's income is 2 things I see: leading by example and personal growth. You know, if you want things to get better, you've got to get better. Jim Rohn says, for things to change, you've got to change. Now, I have the same hardcore philosophy, but I've changed dramatically over the last 29 years through the help of all the friends and sidelines and downline that I've made it. It's helped me grow. And I try to read
Bob, you've gone. I think you're frozen. So, unfortunately, but look, we got some absolutely amazing stuff there. I mean, I've taken reams of notes, but okay, I think we're going to wind it up now because we're up at nearly 8:15. But I am just going to very quickly go back over some of the questions. So, Gordon, if you're there, do you know what the price of the Tower Garden is in the US at the moment?
It's roughly about $500, and you can actually pay for it over an annualized basis with a 20% deposit and roughly about the same price as a premium package over a yearly basis.
Fantastic. And then Levi was saying that there's a whole lot of online groups that we can go to learn more about it. But the key thing is that we are excited about the arrival of the Tower Gardens, but we're not distracted by it because obviously we've got huge opportunity as we have with the capsules, with the shakes. You know, there's some absolutely amazing things that have been said tonight. I mean, I've just been, oh my God, this is so exciting. You know, what we've been hearing. And I think the most important thing at the end of this call is to sit down and say, right, what am I going to do as a result of listening to all this? Because, you know, everything is made from being a doer, not being a thinker or not being a planner in a sense. It's you know, Gordon, you always talk about the fact that it's much better to put into practice a very basic plan, not necessarily a refined plan, but just to get moving. So I just want to finish up now with a very, very important promotion for April the 9th. So April the 9th, we have our Vision Day, and this is the Vision Day in the UK in Swindon, just off the M4. And it really, really is going to be amazing. The idea of this day is that we can all fuel our vision in terms of what each of us can achieve. And let's face it, listening to all the speakers tonight, I hope we're all thinking, oh my God, I can achieve so much with this, but it's all about taking action. So we've got an amazing day. We've got some incredible speakers. We've got obviously most of the speakers that are on here tonight. Dan will be speaking, myself, Sue Worrell will be speaking. We also have two guest speakers, Alex Hamer-Webb and his daughter Romy. Now it's very interesting to think, well, why is Romy being invited on? Well, she's QNMD just about to go NMD. So that's pretty impressive. And Alex is an extraordinary coach. The number of people that he's brought through to PMD, Presidential Marketing Director, is unparalleled. I mean, he is really the most successful distributor in the UK now because his ability to not just sponsor one good person, but to sponsor a number and to help these people to go all the way to the top. So that is going to be absolute gold dust. And beyond that, we also have a speaker, Sam Piper, who's going to be speaking to us from the Dale Carnegie organization. Now, I love the Dale Carnegie organization. And really, Dale Carnegie, I mean, he's been dead for years now, but I went on his course, Public Speaking and Human Relations, years ago, and this was the thing that absolutely transformed me in terms of my approach to life, really, and it's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I can't speak highly enough about what he's going to speak about, and he's going to be speaking about human relations. So, you know, he said to me on the phone, look, James, normally we charge thousands to do this on a corporate basis, and it's £5 a ticket in Swindon on the 9th. So, you know, I think it's such a huge opportunity. So and unless anyone has got anything else pressing that they would like to say, I just wanted to thank everybody enormously for joining us tonight. All of the speakers, as I say, I've taken reams of notes here, but the key thing is what we're going to do with it. That's the key, and only you know that. All right, so good night, everyone. Thank you. Have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. All right, bye for now. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.